Without a well-staffed and well-equipped emergency department, people die. On top of that, people lose faith in the hospital's ability to care for them.
My name is Jeremy Hansen. I work for the USDA Agricultural Research Service. I'm a soil microbiologist.
My name is Kristin Hansen, and we've lived in the area for about 24 years.
We came up to go to graduate school at the University of Idaho.
We're eating healthy at home. He's active.
I like to fish a lot of the local streams.
Our entire family likes to be outdoors.
It's just nice to do the things that you enjoy, and if your family enjoys doing it with you, it's even better. I remember that morning on the day of March 26th.
He called, and it was a really odd phone call. He said, "My chest, it hurts. I don't know if I should go to Moscow or Pullman." But I said, "Go to Pullman." And I hung up with him and just thought something wasn't right. So I started going there, and I was just pulling into Pullman, and I received a phone call.
I mean, I remember going to work, but I don't remember leaving work. I drove to the hospital, and from what I understand, I walked in the front door of the ER and collapsed on the floor.
Across the country, somewhere around 2 out of 5 people seek care in emergency departments every year. Pullman is no exception to that. We're honored that the community trusts us with their emergency care. Pete Mickelson, I'm the medical director of the emergency department and also chief medical officer.
When you do not know what to do next, you come to the emergency department. My name is Aaron Scott, and I'm an emergency physician.
Hi, my name is Megan Marsh, and I'm a registrar at the emergency department. I see a lot of people in a lot of pain when you work in the ER.
When we moved in here, I remember we hit 7,000 visits, and that was a lot of patients for us then. So now we're a little over double. So that 7,000 went to 14,500 last year.
We're seeing our waiting room fill up for lack of beds in the ED, which is not good for anyone. No one wants to be treated in a hallway.
We'll continue to expand our capacity to take care of patients, and that's part of what has led to the expansion effort to essentially double the capacity in the emergency department and add some additional specialized care areas.
You can walk into this place. They will welcome you and care for you with the best of our ability.
I received a phone call. They said, "We have your husband here in the hospital. He came into our ER and collapsed." Tears start flooding because I knew something was wrong when he called. Something wasn't right, so I was worried.
I saw Jeremy walk through the door. He just immediately collapsed. I was running before he hit the floor. Just said a patient went down, there was no questions asked. They were out there immediately. One of the nurses told me to call code blue. He was actually having a heart attack.
There was effectively no blood flow to his brain. And when you don't have any blood flow to your brain, you fall to the floor, lose all tone, and lose consciousness.
I got to the hospital and they took me right back to where Jeremy was. They were administering CPR. And that's when I knew it was really serious. Immediately a social worker, her name is Jessica, she immediately was there and tried to help keep things calm and explaining what was going on. It was just unbelievable. I just didn't expect for that to happen. Prior to that time, there wasn't any major warning signs that I was aware of.
There was no hesitation. They were just immediately acting, doing everything they could to help him.
Within the first minute, literally hundreds of things are happening. We applied the pads, charged the defibrillator, and shocked him, and immediately restarted CPR, and sure enough, he was in ventricular fibrillation still. And so we shocked him again. This happened 7 times.
I knew I needed to stay calm, and immediately was praying that everything could work out and the doctors could do what they needed to do to try to help him. I mean, they were doing everything they could to save his life.
They shocked me 4 times with no response, and Dr. Scott put a double set of electrodes on my chest.
Double sequential defibrillation. And amazingly, this worked.
He did flatline while I was in there, and right before we got on the helicopter, that happened again, and so they had to do CPR again. They were really concerned that he was not super stable prior to getting on the helicopter, so.
I don't think they were sure that I was gonna make it. They told my wife to get on the helicopter.
I remember the life flight nurses were working on Jeremy the entire time. They said, we're going to have some headsets on, and your job is to pray. And that's what I did the entire helicopter ride up. So I had one hand on Jeremy's head and just prayed. And they did a fantastic job. It was a little windy and it had been raining. I just remember when we were coming into Spokane, there was a rainbow, and I just felt like it was gonna be okay. For me, it was just a sign that we were being watched over, and Jeremy was being watched over, and it would be okay.
I went into surgery. They had figured out that I had a 70% blockage of my coronary artery and tried to get my heart just stable.
Looking back, there's just so many little miracles that came into play. I don't know how he drove himself to the hospital. I think angels were helping him out.
You never think it's going to happen to you, but it was a crazy series of events, and I guess lucky to be here.
He survived, and that's pretty incredible.
He's doing great. He recovered a lot quicker than, maybe a typical heart patient.
Every time I hear a helicopter, I can't help but think about it.
Our lives are full of gratitude.
Situations like this are exactly why you need a well-equipped emergency department.
I know in situations like that, there's a lot of moving parts. Their quick response and their knowledge definitely saved my life.
You just have such a support system before you even walk through the doors. It's really incredible.
Certainly thankful for those who contribute financially to Pullman Regional Hospital and what it allows them to do.
You are really actually impacting people's lives. You see the buildings, you see the equipment. You don't always get to see the outcomes. I'm fortunate that I get to see the outcomes, and I get to see how they've improved because of the generosity of our community.
Thank you for helping make a difference.
Thank you for doing what you do.
We will be forever grateful for the team in Pullman that saved Jeremy's life.